So hello everybody, welcome to the webinar today. My name is Michael Bürger. I'm located near Frankfurt in Germany. So it's about digital channels, customer-facing digital identity software for more online business with fantastic solutions from UBISECURE software from Finland. And our main speaker will be Jonathan Clark from the UK. And welcome, Jonathan. So let me please start with a short introduction of the EU Hub and of the themes and market trends before Jonathan is positioning the solutions from UBISECURE. So today we have 3 parts on the agenda. And at the end, there will be a question and answer session. So you can send questions already via the chat. So I will pick them and make notes so we can come back to it at the end, or even unmute yourself in the question and answer session, and we can discuss questions and exchange ideas and things like this. The topic, digital channels, is of interest for a large community. So we got registrations from many countries, more than 50, actually from different continents. So that's why we are recording the webinar, because people in our time zones, like South America, they can watch the video even today, same day in the morning their time, or in Asia Pacific, so they can watch it on the next working day. So about the EU Hub network, we are on the market since a couple of years now. Actually, on the topic of identity access management, I'm interested since 2004. Our focus now is on the software redistribution. So we are authorized distribution partner of a couple of pre-selected and very interesting technology leaders in different areas of information security and governance, risk and compliance. We do have a worldwide network of independent partners who does have some knowledge regarding technology, or also regarding events and platforms, to talk about interesting technologies. And our focus is on global customers, so worldwide, but certainly, as the company name indicates, for technology from the European Union. And also we are selling in DACH, which means Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, as we are speaking German. One differentiator of the EU Hub network, we position innovative themes earlier, and unique themes which not everybody is focusing on. Maybe it's coming from the fact that we worked with analyst firms a long time, and are watching still the market trends and what's new, what's of interest for our community. If you look on the graph on the right hand side, so it shows the product technology adoption life cycle. So it's also valid for software solutions. It's the Gaussian normal distribution, and it's telling that there is 2 markets, the early market and the mainstream market. If things are coming up, always architects, visionaries, enthusiasts are jumping on it, are interested on it, because they want to get this technology sooner than their next competitors, in the same industry, and they are buying first, and we are addressing this market mainly, but we are also, if products are becoming more mature, like traditional identity and access management, where people would like to develop their environment further, add some tools. Certainly we can help with our solutions which we offer, or with partners who does have something in their portfolio which might be of interest for you. What we are doing, so here in listed, so it's identity access management for compliance, for less risks and costs. PKI, there are some tools in this area for smart card management. Privilege access management is a hot topic. yeah, versus insider threats as one of the most critical area for security violations by analyst firms, yeah, and for faster audits. If you think on GDPR global regulations, it's valid for everybody who does have European customers, or if you think on the mass monetary authority Singapore regulation, which is relevant for companies with customers in Singapore. So they require solutions like this. Further, API security is coming into play. Yeah, also the UBISECURE solutions are built on open architecture, yeah, APIs to interface with further components of your infrastructure. And then we are also looking on the GRC part, so anti-money laundering solutions are in our portfolio for fraud prevention, and know your customer solutions for decentralized identity verification, including data privacy for the user, because it's blockchain based, and this technology allows that the user can keep his data on his mobile device, and it's not elsewhere. Yeah, so it's by technology enabled the data privacy. And then secure cloud. So we are distributor for infrastructure as a service with a European company. And then we are working with a leading analyst regarding the security reference architecture models. There's also an interesting webcast available. If you are interested, I will send you the link to see what way he's recommending regarding a future-proofed security reference architecture, which includes, by the way, identity management, consumer identity management, or privilege access management. And our topic for today is CIAM, consumer identity and access management for the digital enterprise, including the external ecosystem, means in the private sector, suppliers, partners, distribution partners, but also customers, both business to business or business to consumer. And in the government or public sector, it means citizens. Yeah, so you can include citizens, self-services, save costs, improve security further with those tools for consumer or citizen identity access management. So for external enterprise. Some market trends regarding software innovations. So I found something here via the link. If you go to this digital business text, you will find the link to the source. Yeah, there is a report available, public report with analyst statements from Gartner, from different analysts. Yeah, and they found out in the survey that most of the enterprises, they would like to speed up their digital business, so they would be more customer centric. And we all know it doesn't work without information security, without digital identity as a key enabler for more digital business. And this is a market trend. The second aspect, by the way, was cost optimization, not reduction. So only 50% are more focused on the cost side, yeah, optimization, maybe switching things, yeah, looking on what's important, what's not so important. But the main point is, yeah, more digital channels. Yeah, we can see that, some vendors, they are growing fast because they are digital, and others who are behind, yeah, they can't grow so fast. And that's why we believe our topic of today can help you. So the cloud share is also growing. Yeah, so cloud first, often I hear from customers, yeah, and from the top management of the customers, let's do cloud first. And it's growing, yeah, in the next 4 years from 9% at the moment to 14% in 4 years. It certainly means that the bigger companies already does have cloud initiatives, and the smaller companies, they most probably will start something. And yeah, one more aspect, IAM should be focused on operational efficiency and security and regulatory compliance, as it was in the past. Yeah, but now the consumer-oriented part of the picture brings other topics to the table and to the focus. Yeah, so control of your brand. Yeah, consent management. Yeah, so to be in compliance, yet only to contact customers who agreed on it. You know, so the tools can provide this user self-service registrations supported, yeah, and more privacy, yeah, based on a personalized approach supported by the software. And this will help you certainly if you look on consumer identity access management to increase the growth of your future business. Why we have chosen UBISECURE? So it's a European software manufacturer, and we are looking on technologies from Europe first, headquartered in Finland, and we are market leader in the Nordic countries with a strong technology. We know each other since a long time. There is an established business relationship with us from different perspectives. It's regarding the product itself, it's a fantastic solution, with unique delegated administrations and rights to represent, more agile, for example. So you don't need to give your password to your tax office, so you can delegate the right to represent you in order to send the tax declaration to someone else, or for someone if you for the pension, if the mother is ill, so she can give the right to you, officially, and it's supported by the software in many use cases. And certainly Jonathan will talk about this a bit more later. Identity access management and consumer-oriented identity access management is available in one single solution by UBISECURE, so it's not one or the other, it can be both. And it can be integrated to an existing infrastructures. Most companies already have something via the API interfaces. Enormous cost saving potential by automated workflows is an additional benefit. So it not only costs something, you can save a lot and maybe even more than the investment. So there are different customer use cases available showing this. Support and maintenance, it's included, of course, especially in the monthly subscription. So in the cloud product can be purchased not in upfront, without an upfront investment, just on a monthly subscription with a duration of 1 or 2 or 3 years. For project results without surprises and in the expected time, this is always an issue in identity management, that projects are running out of budget, and that's why it's important to choose for your needs a good solution which can mirror your requirements and can deliver it. Okay, so this was my part for the beginning, and now I will stop my screen sharing and will hand over to Jonathan. Jonathan, the floor is yours.
That's great. Thank you very much, Michael, and welcome everybody. It's great to have so many people on the webinar this morning, and I look forward to sharing some more information about UBISECURE. Let me just get my screen up. Hopefully everyone can see this now.
Yes.
Great. So my name is John Clark. As my title suggests, I'm the VP for Channel Alliances. I am based in the UK, but my role is a global role. So I've been working with UBISECURE now for the last 4 years, and my goals are to bring together customers and partners of UBISECURE to ensure that we can build the right ecosystem when it comes to the management of digital identities. We are focusing on the external identities today here, but as Michael very, very eloquently said, we are able to provide solutions for both external and workforce identities. So let me dive into here. Obviously, if there are any questions, please either raise your hand, or if you just want to ask a question, no problem at all. Just unmute yourself and ask a question as we go. But there will be a Q&A, as Michael said. There will be a question and answer session at the end. So if you want to hold on to those questions until the end, then we can go through them then. So in simple terms, I recognize when it comes to the management of identity, there are lots of acronyms around. There are lots of different flavors, as it were. You've seen, IAM, CIM, business to business IAM, IDAS. All of these terms are relevant, but essentially, UBISECURE provide identity management and software services for external and internal users. And as Michael said in the intro there, when we talk about external users, the C in CIM can be customers, consumers, citizens, students, or any external body, partner or third party that wants to gain access to your applications or services. We can provide the access for them so that they can gain that access in the most seamless and secure way. It's all about making it easy for the user to gain access, and also safe for them and for the organization or business to give them that access. We hear on a daily basis about data breaches and organizations, big and small, some globally recognized brands having problems with data breaches. This is where UBISECURE comes in to provide that extra level of security for organizations who are giving access to their external customers or consumers. Just to give you a very short background on UBISECURE, UBISECURE was formed in 2001, so we're 20 years old, and throughout that 20 years, we have focused only on the IAM element of software. We haven't diversified anywhere. We have focused on that, so that we are now the #1 provider of identity management software and services for the Nordics, and we are globally recognized around the world as a leader in our field. To give you a little bit of context, and again, Michael alluded to some of the sizes and the types of projects we get involved in. Every single adult in Finland will use the UBISECURE platform probably 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times a month, because of the projects that we support through the government projects that we support. We support over 23 different government departments within the Finnish market, but equally within Finland and across Scandinavia and across Europe, we support some of the largest telco and utilities organizations out there. So we have projects that on one hand can deal with many millions of identities, and on the other hand, we can work with smaller to medium-sized organizations that have a combination of workforce and external users for lower numbers through our SaaS model. So hopefully that gives everyone the kind of the flavor for who we are and what we do. When we talk about digital identity itself, essentially, and again, Michael mentioned this in the intro, essentially, digital identity connects everything that we do, excuse me, particularly from this has been accelerated because of the pandemic, and because everybody is now been forced to work more online and interact more online, whether it be from a business or a personal perspective. So it's clear that having to manage how identity is used, how identity is protected, how identity gives access to your organization, you know, the organization that you work for, and providing them with either a service or access to information or whatever, or transactions, whatever it may be. It's absolutely key that you get digital identity right. Hold on, let's do the next one. There we go. So when we say getting digital identity right, on the left-hand side here, you can see that you can build for brands, you can build a trusted brand. For organizations, you provide that excellent user experience. As your organization, you can reduce your operational costs, and we have examples where particularly in the Scandinavian market, where we have been recognized as saving many hundreds of millions of euros in operational costs through implementing the right kind of online customer identity and access management solution. Knowing your customer, again, as Michael mentioned, you know, this is critically important, as not only are more customers and more people in general going online, obviously that provides more attraction for fraudsters and hackers wanting to get hold of your data. So you need to know customers, you need to reduce fraud, you need to be compliant in the way that you interact with your customers. And ultimately, getting it right means your business growth. The success of your organization, whether your organization is a public sector organization or whether it is a private sector organization, you want it to grow and you want it to be successful. Getting it wrong, the downside is, as I've said, you know, loss of trust, which can have very, very significant impact on your organization. Poor UX means that people won't hang around. The people will not become loyal customers because they will be frustrated. We help organizations become sticky to their customers. You know, if it's easy for a customer or a partner or a third party to get into what they need, they're going to use that. They're going to keep coming back to you for your services and information. Operational efficiencies, inefficiencies, should I say, will again impact costs and ultimately impact on revenue. So it's very clear that if you don't get identity right, there are some significant downsides for organizations, and in the worst case scenario could have some catastrophic implications and organizations going out of business. For some reason that's not right. So in summary of that, you know, this is a quote from our CEO Simon Wood, but he says identity management is no longer just about workforce access control. It's about empowering your customers, citizens and partners, giving them a better customer journey and protecting their identity data. We are now in an identity-centric era. So essentially, you know, if you've come from an IT background, you will be very familiar with the IAM side, the way of working with your workforce to give them access to different files and systems within an organization. But this is about spinning it on its head and saying, how do we give those same access rights and security to the many millions of potential customers that are out there? So let's just again quick look at who we are. As I mentioned, we specialize in customer identity and access management and organizational identity solutions. As Michael mentioned, we've got an API first approach, so we can make it very easy for an organization to be able to implement strong digital identity management very quickly. We have focused in Europe, and we have built an extremely strong and coherent identity ecosystem. But we also support global global projects as well. So while we do have a focus, because that's mostly where our resources sit, we have a global ability to be able to work with our customers. And just a very, very quick one at the bottom here. I will talk briefly about the other part of UBISECURE, which is legal entity identifiers. This is our sister part of our company called Rapid LEI. For anybody in the financial services market, you'll probably be familiar with legal entity identifiers, LEIs. An LEI is effectively a globally recognized company number, which has several attributes relating to that number, and it can be used to give more information about an organization. Why is that important in this context? Because the services that UBISECURE provide not only talk about the traditional business to consumer relationship, but also the business to business relationship when it comes to identity. So by combining UBISECURE with our sister company Rapid LEI, that means we can provide highly assured data and security against an organization as well. So you get to better know those as well. I'll give you some more examples on LEIs later, but for now we're going to focus on the CIM side. So CIM, that's a thing I've touched on already. Every application or every service that your organization provides needs and is moving towards digital identity, providing the means for an individual or for a business to gain access to those services and applications. So we have spent many, many years building, providing, enhancing and delivering a scalable and adaptable CIM solution for our target market. As I mentioned, it allows, our solutions allow your organization and your IT team the ability to rapidly integrate identity management. The big plus side of that is for many, many years, organizations look to do these types of solutions themselves internally, which is it's a big cost. There's a big time implication, and ultimately it's not core to the organization's, typically it's not core to the organization's services. So it's taking valuable, expensive resource time away from what you do best as your organization. We have leading European identity expertise, but as I mentioned, we do work on a global basis. And ultimately, it's about being flexible. As I think I mentioned, UBISECURE is 20 years old, but we still have a kind of a startup mentality. So we're a 20-year-old startup that wants to provide solutions for customers to meet them where they are. So where you as an organization are, we want to be able to meet you where you are. For some people, that will be a very, very simple solution. For some organizations, that will be a very complex solution. And when it comes to a national level, that means that we have to work really hard and make sure that a solution can fit many, many millions of users. So we have flexible deployment, typically from a cloud-based, but again, depending on your organization, depending on your security rules, on-premise is where we started and where we continue to deliver some of our solutions even today. So just a little bit about the platform itself. And I hold my hand up. I'm not the technical guy here. I'm the sales guy here. So hopefully this is simple enough for me to understand. Hopefully it conveys where we sit. So on the left-hand side here, you have the users. As I say, the great number of those being customers or citizens or families or partners. But equally, it could be employees, and especially now during the pandemic, remote workforce. Many people are still working from home, and almost certainly will continue to work from home in the coming months and years. And also, it can be other legal entities, other organizations. So you have the sort of the individual element here, but then you have the business to business side here. UBISECURE will then provide solutions in sort of 4 key areas, and I'll go into a bit more detail on some of these to give you some examples, but using either our IDaaS, our cloud, or our on-prem deployment methods. We'll focus on the customer experience, things like single sign-on, the capture, proof and convert, so identity verification. How can you verify this person who is trying to open up a bank account or trying to enact a financial transaction is who they say they are? It's very important. And so we can help with that. The security, privacy and compliance, when it comes to, I've got an account, but has someone hacked my account? So I need to authenticate. I'm carrying out a higher than usual value transaction. So what's that step-up authentication? And then finally, as I say, operational efficiency. So around user management, and as Michael touched on in his introduction, again, delegated authority, which I'll expand on shortly, which is really one of UBISECURE's unique selling points. So ultimately, the user will come through on one or all of these use cases, and ultimately get access to the digital services and apps that your organization is providing. So nice and simple, but again, you get this wrong and there could be massive implications for your organization. So just to talk about some of those use cases in a little bit more detail, the typical, on the left here, the typical sort of universal use cases, things like single sign-on. You'll be surprised how many organizations still don't do single sign-on well. They still don't provide a seamless, easy and agile way for customers and consumers to get access to multiple services, multiple web pages, multiple businesses within the same group. We are still providing single sign-on at the highest possible level. So it's really interesting that is still one of the most popular use cases. But if you go to any identity management provider, you will see very similar use cases being talked about and being delivered. The good news for UBISECURE is that we've been doing this for, as I say, for 20 years. So these are really well known, and there aren't too many use cases that we haven't come across or challenges when we come to deliver a project that we haven't answered. The slightly more advanced or use cases that, yeah, you may find some suppliers out there can deliver, but again, UBISECURE has focused on in the last sort of decade or so, things like identity proofing and verification. I mentioned earlier in the financial services sector, this is highly valuable part of the whole compliance piece, depending on where you sit in the world. But it's all about making sure people can prove who they are. And again, particularly for high value transactions, and that doesn't have to mean just monetary transactions. There could be data transactions, any transaction that has any kind of value you will need to prove who you are. Identity brokering, the one below, which again, UBISECURE has really led the field in. So not only we have use cases within the telco industry, whereby not only do we manage the customers for a particular telco, but we have then also provided them with a new revenue stream. by enabling them to become an identity broker for themselves. So where there may be a more established IDP ecosystem, we have a telco customer that's gone out there and sort of shaken the market up a little bit and said, we can provide a similar identity verification, identity authentication tool, and that's actually generated a new revenue stream for them, which has been attributed directly to UBISECURE. And then on the right hand side here, the specialist use cases that UBISECURE will work with and deliver. I mentioned LEIs earlier, especially LEI, the legal entity identifier, becomes very important in that KYC and AML scenario. But delegated authority, so this is the use case where this is a business-to-business use case, and the simple description of that could be you are an organization that wants to complete your government taxes, your corporation taxes. Typically, the CEO or the managing director of the company would be responsible, but he will pass the work to his CFO to be able to do that. The CFO will go, well, actually, that may be John or Jane. She's responsible in my team for doing the corporation tax. John or Jane will probably say, well, actually, we're going to outsource that to an accountancy firm to be able to provide that service and be able to pass the tax back into the government. John, the accountancy firm will have their own line of people working on that particular case. So delegated authority is all about the lead organization, the customer, giving the permissions to an outsourced company in order for that outsourced company then to provide and deliver a transaction or provide a service on their behalf. So in the case of a corporation tax, the accountancy firm can then deliver directly into the government the tax records and maybe even carry out the transactions as well. But it's all audited, and it speeds up the process and the safety of data transfer and transaction accuracy. Just to put that into context, we've been working very closely recently with Gartner, the analyst. And when we started talking to Gartner about delegation and business-to-business relationships, they actually said to us, "Oh, we believe there are, a handful of platforms that might be able to handle maybe 100 business-to-business relationships." We said, "Oh, that's interesting." Then they said, "We hope there may be a platform out there that could handle maybe 1,000 business-to-business transactions." And we said, "Oh, that again, that's interesting." On one instance alone for UBISECURE, we handle over 422,000 business-to-business relationships. So that kind of blew their mind a little bit, and shows that the experience and the heritage that UBISECURE have in that area. So all of these areas on the right here are specialized for UBISECURE and can add additional value. So just to go, I won't go too deeply into this, but you saw the slide previously about some of the use cases and the more common use cases. As I mentioned, when it comes to customer experience, single sign-on, as I said, is still incredibly important to businesses and organizations. But as is self-service account management, we talk about cost reduction, improved efficiency. This is where we can enable you to give the power of account management to your customers, to allow them to access help desks, to allow them to do password resets, to allow them to do address changes and all that kind of stuff. So it reduces reducing the burden on the IT support desk. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the identity brokering. It doesn't have to be a telco scenario. This could equally be a financial services scenario, or any other industry that or vertical that feels like they could be able to provide brokering services out into the wider market. The capture proof and convert. We all know that registration and login is highly critical to first step as gaining customers. If registration and login is too hard or too laborious, then you'll lose customers before you've even landed them. We're finding this is the case in many regions. We've got examples in place, not only in Europe, but in South America, where you have to get the registration as smooth as possible in order to gain those customers and get them on board as quickly as possible. And then once you've got them on board, as I say, identity proofing and then obviously identity providers selecting the right way for your organization to authenticate your customers. In some cases, yes, you will need a highly assured, strong authentication, as I said earlier about financial or high value data transactions, but also your organization may not provide those. So something's like a simple social login or a work-based login could be the right thing for your customers. So it doesn't have to be too complex in order to get them on board. Obviously, security, privacy, and compliance, that's key for everyone. Nobody wants to break the rules. Nobody wants to lose data. Nobody wants to get fined. And we all want to do the right thing by our customers and consumers. So whether it be multi-factor authentication to give your customer an easy and agile way of accessing their accounts or your services, or whether it be something like consent management with GDPR, particularly in Europe, playing a very, very big role in giving customers the power. You need to make sure that you're living by the rules and making sure that we give everything that the customer is looking for while protecting our own services and applications and internal data and services as well. And then finally, organizational efficiency, sorry. So how you can make more informed decisions about giving access to internal and external users. The delegated authority piece again, and I talked about business to business earlier, but equally this could be for family members or individual users wanting to give the rights to others to act on their behalf. One of the scenarios there that we had recently was with a utility company. That utility company wanted to provide a service whereby, as they were moving to a almost solely digital process, a complete digital transformation, they recognized that some older customers might not have access to smartphones or tablets or PCs, but they also recognized that some of those older customers may not also be able to use them for whatever reason. They could be infirmed, they might be unable to act on their own behalf. So they wanted to provide a quick and smooth way for that individual to give the access rights to, it could be a mother giving it to their son, or some other way around, an elderly family member giving it to a younger family member. And giving them the right access rights. So it could be, yes, complete access. I will allow my child to pay the bill, etc., etc. But it could also be, no, I just want my son or daughter to see what I'm spending, or see the usage, or see the transactions that are taking place. So they're the sort of key areas, as I said, that we provide use cases in and solutions in. Again, not to talk too much about the delegation, but as I mentioned in the example, this is this is the sort of the typical scenario around delegated authority, which has so many empowering ways and so many efficient ways of bringing speed to your workflows. So as I mentioned, it enables users to act on behalf of others. You create this audit trail of almost like an electronic power of attorney. It works across an organization, both internally and across to another organization externally. It will simplify your complex workflows, and you gain significant business process efficiencies. So it kind of brings your IAM and your CIM together in a real neat, secure package that can transform, as I say, transform the workflows of your organization. And UBISECURE really are industry leaders in this use case. There aren't too many organizations that have instances of the size and magnitude and reach that UBISECURE do. We touched on deployment at the beginning, but again, just to reinforce this, we can provide our services via the cloud as software as a service, both in a public cloud or private cloud, and that is a managed service. Likewise, if you have either an external team or an internal team, sorry, or an external partner that you work with to provide a wider service for your customers, then you can obviously do that on premise or in your partner's cloud and provide a self-managed service for your customers. But essentially, the way that we deploy and the way that we integrate the UBISECURE platform is all about configuring rather than coding. So both options are relatively straightforward, with the usual caveats of understanding how it's got to be integrated, etc., and where. But yeah, as we've moved the platform and the product forward, we've made it easier and easier for you, the organization, to be able to deploy it. And then just as we're coming to a close here, but just a few more slides, just to show you that when we talk about the UBISECURE platform and we talk about how we can act globally, and we talk about how we can provide lots of identity solutions, our service is built on standards. And over the last 20 years, we've often informed and sometimes created the standards for identity protection and digital identity management in today's world. So when it comes to the types of verified IDs and regional IDs that we can integrate with, and this is just a selection, you'll probably see some familiar ones up there, some less familiar ones, but you know, these are the services that we can provide and we can integrate with. When it comes to authentication pieces, there are numerous different partners that we can work with. When it comes to things like biometric and passwordless authentication. And as I mentioned, we can also equally work well with your enterprise identities. So you don't have to go looking to connect to a bank ID or some kind of government ID. We can equally utilize the IDs that you have within your organization, whether that's Microsoft or Google or whatever it may be. We can work with those. And likewise, as I said, we can work with social identities for lower level transactions. If you just need someone to see a piece of data but not act on it or be able to share it or whatever, then you know, something like that, you can quite easily use your social identities. But the key thing here is that everything is built on standards. So whether it's OpenID Connect or SAML, which tend to be the two most common, we can work with them, and that provides really smooth integration of the UBISECURE product. Others, all of these are available, and there's an even longer list. This is just a selection of standards. As I say, over 20 years, we've been able to work with all the standards that are available, and so that we are right at the cutting edge of being able to provide the integration. And then from a assurance perspective, yes, it's whether you need passwordless or authentication or one-time passwords, we can provide those and give you the service as you need it. So who are we working with? Again, this list of customers is fairly European or Nordic centric, but what I want to emphasize here is we are vertical or industry agnostic. So there is no one vertical that we specialize in. We have customers right across the board, whether it be from government, obviously financial services, right through to education and telcos. We work with some of the biggest retailers in Europe with many hundreds of thousands of customers. And we also work through our LEI brand and our LEI customers, some of the most well-known and biggest brands known. So we have a very rich and varied heritage of customers and industries that we can work within. So whatever industry or wherever your organization works, we will have a solution for you. A couple of quick use cases and case studies just before we finish up and get to the questions. So the S Group is one of the largest retail groups in the Nordics. 39,000 employees, many hundreds of thousands of customers. Sorry, what we've provided them is a really robust single sign-on process that allows each of their customers not only to sign into, let's say, their supermarket, but immediately, without having to authenticate again or log in again, then access one of 6 or 7 different business units they have, from petrol stations to hotels, the corner shops, all in a seamless way. And once they've logged in once, then they can jump through those again. And then finally, just a quick government one. This is very close to my home here in the UK, where UBISECURE provide a self-service portal for 300 or more than 300,000 residents now in the Brighton and Hove Council area. And this allows individual citizens to be able to access services that are unique to them. So whether it be about paying tax, it could be about travel and transportation. It could even be about when their garbage and their rubbish bins are being collected. Each resident can see that and be able to act on their own behalf. So I recognise we're close to time. So this is where I will stop. I want to say thank you for listening, and I'll hand back to Michael for any questions.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, for this great presentation. And yeah, let's move now to the question and answer session. I will share my screen. Yes. And I prepared some questions already for you, and everybody is welcome, yeah, to unmute him or herself in order to ask a live question. Let's start with the first one. How can we implement both identity access management and consumer identity management if needed? Yeah, because we learned you can do both.
So yeah, this one is it's very easy. The platform it has been built right from day one to deliver both. First and foremost, it was with a customer focus, and the only difference is the way that we integrate with the different internal services. So it's one project, but we take two different views of it, so that we can get a seamless project at the end.
So if the customer and the digital identity is in mind, you know, UBISECURE is a good choice, and you can also complete some use cases for internal employees.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you confirm, I think that also we have heard market trends that more clients are looking after cloud-based solutions versus on-premise?
Yeah, that's correct. So yes, as the whole world has moved into sort of a cloud-based arena, we've also led that in the CIM field. So as I mentioned earlier, we can not only deal with many millions, but through our identity as a service, we can also look after smaller groups of external customers using our cloud-based solutions.
And I know that for IT, English works well usually, so software in English works well. But if it's more customer-centric, so which languages you can support, please?
Yeah, so we support every European language, and I would say pretty much most global languages. When we get into the Middle East and Far East, we took a poll a few years ago where we wanted to make sure that we were where the customer was, and actually most regions still recognise English, but where there is a specific language need, I would say 99% of the time we are covered.
Okay, and regarding testing the software or having a closer look in the within the environment of a client, yeah, what are the options? I think there is a test option, yeah, for the straightforward identity as a service use case. But if customers are becoming more in the focus, yeah, you are recommending more a pilot, yeah, a paid pilot, yeah, as a first stage, yeah, to the production before the production.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct, Michael. So there's two options. One is, as you say, it's a free identity as a service test. It gives you access to see the functionality. It doesn't give you absolute 100% functionality because obviously it depends on the complexity of the organization. But as a first look and a free first look, this will give you access to the platform itself and some of the documents and data and developer portals that you may wish to look at. And then for something that's a bit more complex, where you may be talking about hundreds of thousands or millions of identities, then we can provide a pilot that's tailored to your use case.
Okay, and I think the test is 1 month and the pilot duration might be 3 months.
Exactly. Yes, that's correct.
And it includes a remote workshop or two, yeah, in order
yes,
to prepare everything properly, yeah, and to assign an expert from UBISECURE to the client project.
Exactly. Yeah, we try and make it as easy as possible for the customer to say yes.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no other questions, please unmute yourself, or we will move to the last slides, yeah, next steps. So we will send you the slides, yeah, and also the link to the recorded video file on YouTube, and automatically. And then if you have any other questions in the future, would like to continue with something, please feel free to reach out to one of the two of us or request your free test installation or pilot. And yeah, you are welcome to proceed with us. And yeah, after this initial session, yeah, maybe a look on our further partners. So UBISECURE is an important partner, and from Finland. We are doing something with Pateco, a German managed service provider, consulting oriented with technical expertise. For privilege management, we do have a relationship with Indeed Identity from Lithuania, and there is Cloud Sigma as an option for infrastructure as a service. If you would like to have another look instead of Amazon or Google or Microsoft. And then Balasys is the provider for API security from Hungary, and the Kuchen Group and Naomi Now are our partners for anti-money laundering and fraud prevention. So thanks a lot for this, for your interest today, and yeah, and thanks also again to Jonathan for your great support. We are very happy with the relationship to UBISECURE and to such a leading software provider. And yeah, I wish you a nice day or evening further, and all the best. Hope to see you again on one of the next sessions or one-to-one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.